The Parkland tragedy has changed our country. The senseless slaughter of 17 innocent people in yet another mass school shooting has galvanized student leadership across our nation and right here in Minnesota. What we adults failed to do for 30 years, our kids are now doing. That shames me. It should shame us all. More importantly, it should wake us up, shake us, until we realize that doing nothing cannot save us from the next shooting or the one after that. Our young students aren't willing to accept the same tired old excuses for doing nothing, and neither should we. Thankfully, these kids have created a moment that demands action, and a moment where real action is finally possible. Shortly after Parkland, I began reaching out to Republicans, NRA members, and other gun owners to find out where we had common ground to reduce gun violence. I was overwhelmed by the response. In conversation after conversation, we found many solutions we agreed upon. Inspired by these talks, I reached out to my Senate colleagues here today. After a number of hard discussions and revisions, we've agreed on 2 bills: universal background checks and mandatory reporting for lost or stolen firearms. We believe these bills, when taken together, will help to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. The first bill on universal background checks will require that all transfers of a firearm have an FFL present and a background check done. There are a number of exemptions for family, antiques, hunting, and a number of other situations. One of the concerns that has been listed before in universal background checks is the availability of an FFL so that people can get a background check and purchase a firearm. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms of Minnesota says that Minnesota has over 1,400 FFLs, and 98.9% of Minnesotans live within 10 miles of a licensed dealer. The second bill is mandatory reporting of a lost or stolen firearm. The requirements under this bill will be that if an individual finds out or discovers that their firearm is missing, within 14 days they have to report that to the local police. We believe this will cut down on straw person purchasers circumventing the law. Currently, straw purchasers pretend to buy a gun for themselves while actually intending to sell the weapons at a premium price to people who cannot legally buy a firearm. So essentially, they're able to claim that the gun is later lost and avoid any sort of prosecution. This bill will help put an end to that. Straw buyers will have a very difficult time avoiding penalty if they later claim that a gun is lost or stolen. I do want to emphasize that this is only the start of the discussion. I think there are many possibilities for more agreement and changes, such as expanding the family exclusions under our own background check bill, authorizing funds for anti-straw person sales training to dealers, enforcing conditions of release on those charged with domestic violence, mental health resources, and voluntary ineligibility to possess a firearm. Now, I know some people will raise the same old, tired objections. Some people will say that this won't stop the next school shooting, but they simply cannot know that, and it just might. People will say this won't solve all gun crimes, and that's true. Of course, no single solution will end all gun violence. That's a ridiculous and cynical standard used by some to prevent change. But these bills will make us safer and make it more difficult for criminals and dangerous people to obtain guns. Every step saves lives. People will say the government is trying to take away everyone's guns. But I want to be absolutely clear. Everyone standing here supports the Second Amendment rights of legal gun owners to possess guns for hunting, protection, and sport shooting. Anyone that says otherwise is trying to scare you into the old gridlock that has cost so many innocent lives. In fact, these bills protect gun owners from liability if they unknowingly sell a gun to a convicted criminal or violent offender. And these bills protect the reputations of the 99.9% of gun owners in Minnesota who are honest, law-abiding citizens. To be here today, each of us have had to put aside our party line talking points. We had to build trust with each other, and we've worked through difficult discussions to find common ground. You're going to hear that these bills don't go far enough, and you're going to hear that they go way too far. But that should tell you how important this agreement is as a first step. Saving students' lives is more important than anyone's partisan agenda. Unfortunately, without meaningful bipartisan solutions, another school shooting is virtually inevitable. Partisan gridlock is literally costing our students' lives, and only breaking beyond party dogma can save them. But with more bipartisan agreements like this one, we can reduce the amount of gun violence in Minnesota and restore young people's faith in the future.